Tonight on Colonial Sports Center, the men's and women's basketball teams get their first taste of action in the Horizon League playoffs. The football team heads to Virginia to take on nationally ranked James Madison. And the women's hockey team celebrates a successful weekend on the island, just like Ric Flair, woo, the nature boy, celebrating his birthday by watching CSC.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Jack O'Brien and Tyler Gallo with you today. And Jack, thanks for taking your name out of the transfer portal. But what do we have for the fans today?
Well, it's good to be back. Feel good to be back at the studio as always. But what we have for the folks at home tonight, we have men and women's hockey wrapping up their regular seasons, as well as updates in lacrosse and soccer, and the spiciest segment on the planet, Hot Takes, going to be a good one as always.
That's right, but before we go to that, we have some breaking news. We have some breaking scores. As Nick mentioned earlier, the men's and women's basketball team are in the Horizon League playoffs, and they both had their games tonight start at 7. Let's see how they turned out. As we'll go to men's first, who was the matchup against Detroit Mercy in the first round. They rolled a team that they played in their series to end the season, and they lost 83-73. Khalil Spear had a career-high 22 points, but Antoine Davis put up 46 points to nullify that effort whatsoever, and he was 16 for 26 from the field. What a performance from Antoine Davis in this game as the Colonials get knocked out in the first round. And now women's basketball was similarly looking for another victory in the first round of the Horizon League playoffs, their first time in the Horizon League playoffs as well. Let's see how they did in that game. And they were in the 8-9 matchup against a team they also played quite often during the regular season 4 times in the Norse. They lost 68-54 to Northern Kentucky on the strength of 29 points, a career high by Lindsay Duval. And while Esther Castillo put up 21 of her career high, they unfortunately fell in the first round. Now, I'm joined today by two of our best basketball analysts here, Ethan Morrison and Austin Bechtold. Guys, it's been sort of a rough season altogether for the teams, but Ethan, what did you see from both teams in their opening round of the playoffs?
You know what? I'll start off with men's basketball. I mean, they thought they were kicking around in the second half, keeping it to about 10 points, the margin for the Detroit Mercy lead. But, you know, some costly turnovers in the game, some forced shots by John Williams and Dante Tracy kind of put into their game tonight, as well as Antoine Davis. I mean, what more can we say? He had a great 2 games last week and played even better tonight in the first round of the playoffs, putting up 46. So I mean, you can't let a guy put up 46 in the even being in the playoffs. I mean, that's just writing on the wall. I mean, it was a rough season for them, but I mean, I feel like they're geared up and ready to go next
Right,
year.
Ethan, you can't. 46 points. The Colonials had a bad job containing Antoine Davis's me my bad hair day today, but the fact that the Colonials has some trouble handling guards today, including Davis, where we've seen really the size play a factor, not having A.J. Brahma really as their main scorer. There really wasn't a threat really noticeable other than Khalil Spear to be able to put the ball in the bucket and be able to maintain any bit of a consistent offense for the Colonials. Defense was also struggling. When you give up 46 points to anybody, no matter who you're playing, it's going to be a tough battle to be able to win the game, especially on the road.
Yeah.
Right, and it was a disappointing performance on the women's side as well. As you can see, Esther Castillo did put up a career high in points of 21. But Austin, what else went wrong for the Colonials in this game as they fell to the Northern Kentucky Norse for the 5th time this season?
Yeah, Tyler, what was really concerning to me was the offense. There was absolutely no offense early on. Now, Scott Schneider was coaching in place of Coach Charlie Biscaglia. We don't exactly know why. But I'm sure that played a little bit of a role, not being able to have your leader there to be able to make some adjustments. The Colonials were down by 20 at one point. Just, again, not much offense, getting dominated really down low, as we've seen a lot in Horizon League play this year, especially with not having a lot of the bigs that the Colonials had last year with Ire Azimamadou and also Neka Zibo. That's going to be a big part of going forward for Robert Morris to see if you can build up that size, be able to compete with some bigger teams in this conference, which really was a struggle for the Colonials on the road as the 9th seed.
Yeah, I think it was unfortunate that Charlie Biscaglia was not able to coach tonight, and that definitely played a factor into this game. But, you know, like we've been saying all year, this team is lacking size. I mean, yes, they have Sol Castro, who's been phenomenal for them this year, but she only put up 9 points today. Would have liked more out of her. But, you know, just not having that size, I mean, I feel like they were outmatched by Lindsay Duval, who had a career-high 29 points. So I feel like overall there was no offense. I feel like they were outplayed on both sides of the floor. So just an overall rough game for them tonight.
And we knew that for both men's and women's basketball, it was going to be a little bit of a challenge adjusting to the Horizon League. Definitely a bigger style of play that we're able to see, especially with just the physical bodies down low. It's just a bigger game in the Horizon League. So, Tyler, I think that, this is a big year just to adjust, to manage, and see going forward in the next couple of years. Hopefully just one more year recruiting-wise for these two coaches, Andy Toole and Charlie Biscaglia, to be able to see what they need to bring in terms of size and playmakers to be able to match up against these Horizon League teams.
Right, and really quickly, guys, what do you think is next for both of these teams? Ethan, I'll go with you for men's basketball.
For men's, it's going to be Brendan Stone and Justin Winston. These two guys, they're big. They got the size. You lose A.J. Ronald, you get Justin Winston, 6'9", 225. He's going to be a guy that's going to pick up the slack from Brahma and really be that physical guy down low. Brendan Stone, he's the first true center since Brandon Burke back in 2017. It's the size that they need, so they're pretty set up well. I'm very confident with them next season to compete a little bit more in the Horizon League.
And Austin, how do you feel about women's coming in next season?
Yeah, for women's, I'm feeling like it was better later on in the season. You really start to see the team come together as a more cohesive group than especially early on in the season, really getting blown out by a lot of teams. Now, they only won one game on the road, and that was against a Purdue-Fort Wayne team that was absolutely atrocious. The Colonials handing them their only win of the season. But like Ethan mentioned, it's got to be the size. But I also look at a lot of seniors that are graduating this year. Will any come back for an extra year of eligibility due to the NCAA granting a potential fifth year due to the effects of the coronavirus pandemic? Really interesting to see what's going to happen there, and if they add a lot of size and some incoming freshmen and even some transfers to be able to match up better down low.
Right, and it's definitely going to be interesting to watch these teams as they go along into their early years in the Horizon League. And now, Luke Yost joins us to take a look at what the brackets could have been if the teams had won. Luke, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. Obviously, you can see behind me, they're busted, right, folks? They are busted. Robert Morris in the men's bracket, if they won tonight, they would have gone into a buzzsaw against Cleveland State. And lucky for them, they avoided that because I truly believe that it would have been a very bad game for the Colonials, one that would have set them back more than just a year. However, this game was closer than most people thought it was going to be. Personally, I didn't think Robert Morris really was going to play this well against Detroit Mercy. Detroit Mercy is coming off a couple really big games as far as points-wise. They put up 83 points against this Cleveland State team 2 weeks ago. They had a better team than that, but again, you can't handle a guy when he scores 46 points and the top score you have is 22 points. And it was really tough. And then let's look at the women's side of things, too, as well. Women's basketball, again, our bracket's busted on the first night. It happens to a lot of people. It's going to happen to you next month in March. All right, listen, that's just how this thing works. But again, women's basketball, same type of thing we've talked about all year. They lack the interior size. They got out-rebounded tonight by a great margin, 37-23. And a lot of those are defensive rebounds. For the Colonials, there's 23 defensive rebounds. And then for Northern Kentucky, they had a lot of offensive rebounds, right? They stole possessions from this. They stole this from this Colonials team. That could have been a closer game. Now let's take a look at the hockey brackets as we roll on here. Actually, we're going to say that for next time. And after the break, we're going to see some more. I'm going to be back here with some more bracketology. Stay with us here at Colonial Sports Center.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
We discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. The RMU men's hockey team traveled upstate New York to finish off their season against the RIT Tigers. The Colonials had previously handled the Tigers early in the season, sweeping them in the 2 games they've played. Could the Colonials ice the Tigers and also ice a improved season? Sorry, I forgot how to speak English for a minute. Let's check the highlights to figure it out. All right, a scoreless first period is going to take us into the second, where Santeri Hartikainen is going to find the puck in the slot, throw a backhander, and Randy Hernandez cleans up the garbage. And the RMU Colonials are out to a quick start, but Tigers are ambush predators, folks. That's going to be a shot down by Jake Hamaker, and the traffic in front will lead to Will Calverley scoring, and he's going to tie it up at 1. Tigers on the attack again. A blast from from Aiden Dupuis, and now the Tigers are up 2-1. Colonials on the power play, but a turnover by the goal scorer Randy Hernandez leads to a 2-on-1. The original shot is stopped, but to clean up the garbage is going to be Kobe Walker. Now to the third period. Hard-nosed defense in the corner. Colonials looking to make a clear, but the puck scrapes out, and an odd bounce leads right to the slot as the Colonials lose 6-1 in this one.
And after that tough loss in the first game, the Colonials look to play eeny, meeny, miny, mo and catch a Tiger by their toe in the second game. Let's see how they did in that one. Now, picking up action here in the first period, Colonials and Tigers back in Rochester. Of course, Elijah Gonsalves is going to get the puck in front and bury it right away there, and he sellies nice little ice scoop there. And then it's going to be Colonials coming back here. Jenny waits and fires and scores, and it's going to be tied at 1. Now moving to the second period, Nick Lalonde is going to have a ridiculous kick pass from behind the net, and somehow Grant Ibert is going to put it in. He's been an insurgent force on this team this year. Look at this kick pass, by the way, by Lalonde. Right to Ibert, and there was no real way for the goalie to stop that one. That was a beautiful play. Now, after that one, Santeri Hartikainen with a burst of speed. He's got a 2-on-1 with Hernandez. Hernandez is going to shoot. He's going to fire and go top corner and make it 3-2. Colonials have the lead heading into the third. Normally their period, but let's see how it goes here. Here's a shot from the point that's going to go in and tie the game up. That would be Ryan Nicholson. And then a failed breakout attempt right here by Randy Hernandez leads to a turnover, and it's going to be Nick Bruce, who's wide open in the slot, and he's going to fire and score as the Tigers win this one 4-3.
The women's hockey team was also looking to finish out their season as they went to play Sacred Heart on the island on senior weekend. Could the Colonials get it done to finish out the season? We'll take a look. Colonials and Pioneers. This one was a really high-scoring offensive game. Never mind. But we're going to have a first goal here by Ellie Markovsky. The Colonials go up early, looking to get the offense started, thinking that they're going to have a good night. Again, Markovsky comes in, throws it low blocker side. To the second period, it's going to be an odd bounce, and it's going to end up being Molly Padone, who is stoned by Frankie Sanchez. One of 72 saves made that night by Sanchez, but excellent goaltending on both ends. As Molly Singwald makes a great save there, she would eventually get the shutout, but Angelica Diffenall comes in on a breakaway, but only finds the crossbar. Sanchez getting some help from the iron, but Molly Singwald records her first shutout, and the Colonials win 1-0.
And after Molly Singwald recorded her first shutout in her first game, becoming the first goalie to do so in Colonials history, she looked to stretch it to 2 as she draw the start again in the second game and see if they could kick up the offense a little bit after that strong performance. Let's take it to that one. And now early on in the first period, it's going to be a scramble in front. Colonials and Pioneers taking on again for the second straight day. And here's a scramble in front. It's going to come out right to Emily Harley, who surveys, who fires and scores. And it's going to be 1-0 early on, about 15 seconds in. And then it's going to be on the power play. There's going to be some loose change in front of the net. And Maggie Burbage is going to pick up the goal in front there to make it 2-0, already outscoring the first game. Moving on to the second period, Jillian Thompson is going to fire it from the point. It's going to be rattling around in the crease. And in front, it's going to be Ellie Markovsky to stretch it to 4-0. And then the Colonials, it's all of them in this game. Boyle drives on the wide side, goes in. That will be her second of 4 goals in the game. Third period now, it would be all Colonials continuing. Here's Thompson once again, who's finding just a lot of offensive success lately. Fires it in front. It's going to be tipped down by Joelle Fiala to make it 6-0. And then Michaela Boyle once again rips it in the slot and scores to make it 7-0. She scored 4 goals on the day, becoming the first Colonials in 2013, and Brittany Howard to do so. So now we're going to send it back over, as we just saw the women's hockey team, to Luke Yost to see how they're going to fare in the brackets. Luke, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. As you can see, our bracket here, not busted yet. Hopefully it doesn't get busted anytime soon. But really the first game I want to focus on, Robert Morris will play the highest remaining seed against the Mercyhurst Lakers, Lindenwood, and then Syracuse and RIT. For my money, Lindenwood not the team that they want to be at this point in the season. Again, they've had a tough time scoring. So let's take a look at the potential matchup of the Mercyhurst Lakers and the Robert Morris Colonials in the second round. As you can see here, Robert Morris 13-5-1, but a lot of those losses coming to the Mercyhurst Lakers, except for the last game, they won 3-2. Robert Morris scores 3.1 goals against to Mercyhurst's 2.9. These are two very well-matched teams. Again, defense a premium. And Lexi Templeman, 24 points this year, and then Sarah Boucher, 16 points. But let's take a look at another game that could potentially happen, barring a miracle here for RIT. Let's look at this RIT game. This could happen. We don't know what's going to happen. This one could, if Lindenwood could pull that off against Mercyhurst. Again, this is an RIT team. Again, they're not ready to go for this season. They haven't played a lot of hockey. They played a lot of hockey, haven't won a lot of hockey, haven't played in front for a while. And they average less than 1 goal a game and give up almost 4 goals a game. And again, Tori Haywood is only their leading scorer with 4. She only has 4 points this year, leads the Tigers. But let's take a look at another potential matchup here with Syracuse. This is a good Syracuse team. They're better than they have been in a while. But they've battled with the Colonials. Again, this team, they both average 3.1 goals a game. None of the stuff on the Robert Morris side has changed. But the goals allowed is something that favors the Colonials here, a little bit of a margin. But when we come back, we're going to show you a piece of Robert Morris Island stuff that they want you to see. It is the Pittsburgh Ice. It gives young children and underprivileged youth a chance to play hockey. That'll be after the break here on Colonial Sports Center.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
So recently on Colonial Sports Center, we've had a tough time pronouncing names. Everybody just can't seem to get the flair for the names that we have here.
Supiani Melee.
Great.
Okay.
Number 2.
Neka Azibo.
Number 3.
Trinity Papamanjaris.
Okay, everybody together now. Santeri Hartikainen. Okay, let's get the easy ones out of the way. Number 1.
Rion Smythe.
Okay, Ryan Smith, you're close, okay.
Okay.
Number 2.
Luck Lynch.
Yeah, not quite, a little closer. Bring it to me.
Pete Matthews.
Pete Matthews. But hey, you're right there. Keep practicing. You're right there. All right, everybody. Last one together. You ready?
Coel Chasse.
It's Cole Chase. I think we should just, probably just find some new people. These guys.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center once again, and now we're going to take it down to the island where some youth players are playing hockey for maybe the first time, maybe the first couple times, but this is a program for the underprivileged youth to play hockey, suit up, and play the best game on earth. Let's take a look at the package that Nate Breisinger has for us. Nate, what do you got?
Here on Neville Island, many people may turn their attention towards Clearview Arena for the Robert Morris men's and women's hockey programs. But on the other end of the building, many people may not know about an organization that is working hard to build the hockey community here in the city of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh Ice, otherwise known as Inclusion Creates Equality, brings the game of ice hockey to children from all socioeconomic backgrounds.
So the program is for underprivileged youth, and the idea is to introduce kids to hockey that may not have the opportunity to play the game. So it's a way to bring them the opportunity and give them a chance to see if they like the game and be a part of the game.
On Saturday mornings, throughout the winter, kids from around the Pittsburgh area are transported to the Island Sports Complex, where they are provided with equipment and are given ice time as they are guided by the coaching staff at the organization.
So they get everything. Head to toe, they get everything, including the ice time, equipment head to toe, skates all the way to helmets. Everything is free. Everything's for them to have the opportunity. Again, these are kids that may or may not have the opportunity, so we want to make sure they have everything they need. Plus, they get the coaching. As you can see behind us, we have quite a few coaches out there now, so they're supported 100%.
The organization has grown throughout the years, as it was originally called Hockey in the Hood when it was launched over 20 years ago in 2000. To kickstart the program, Pittsburgh Ice received a grant from the National Hockey League and Pittsburgh Penguins alumni.
It used to be called Hockey in the Hood over 20 years ago, which was to get urban youth opportunity to play a sport that might be hard for them to play, for one thing, financially, and for another thing where African Americans weren't kind of taken to the sport. They didn't really know much about it.
Over the years, the program has grown in size while giving over 1,200 kids the opportunity to play the game of hockey, along with partnering with several organizations, including the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation, that has provided financial support to Pittsburgh Ice.
So the Penguin Foundation gives us a sizable donation, and it covers ice costs more or less. And it's just the exposure. It's the exposure for the program itself through the Penguins Foundation. But their main goal is they supply a big part of the finances for the program.
Partnering with the Penguins Foundation, the kids from Pittsburgh Ice have had the opportunity throughout the years to skate with some of the players from the Pittsburgh Penguins, allowing them to connect with professional athletes.
They're great. I remember being out at the Lemieux complex, and we had some players that came out there and spent some time with the kids, and they loved it. It was fantastic. The Pittsburgh Foundation has been so supportive of us.
With the growth of the program, the coaching staff has been an important part of allowing kids to learn the fundamentals of the game of hockey. But it has also been vital for Pittsburgh Ice to receive help from volunteers as well.
It's immense, because without volunteers, we don't have a program. Everybody, including our board members, every coach that's on the ice, anybody that's a part of the program is a volunteer. So without volunteers, we don't have a program.
While the coaches enjoy the experience of teaching the players who participate in the program, it is also something the kids look forward to.
It's very fun because I know that most people can't afford to get the sticks and the equipment, so it's very expensive. So the fact that we're able to be here is just, I'm just very grateful.
The kids learn the basics in hockey, such as skating, passing, and shooting.
I like skating backwards because it's hard for me to do, so I learn more.
Along with the drills, the kids enjoy coming to the rink each and every day to talk with their friends and make new memories.
Getting on the ice, I just like to socialize, make new friends, get better, every day.
The adults on the ice work to create a satisfying experience for the kids to learn the game of hockey in a fun and engaging atmosphere.
The experience, first of all, big part of the game in general is just the social aspect of it. They're making new friends, or they have friends that are here, but the other big part of it is they get to experience a team sort of atmosphere.
Overall, Pittsburgh Ice has developed into a program that countless kids call home and find the resources that allow them to play hockey. But the organization still looks to reach new heights.
We're always looking for support, so we're always looking for volunteers to help out on the ice. We're always looking for volunteers just to come in and be a part of the program, help the kids get ready. Just that alone is huge. And anybody that has any interest in donating or being part of the program that way, we're always looking. So go to our website, check that out. You can be a volunteer, you can make donations. So that's the big thing for me. And it does immense things for these kids. As you can see, they're loving it.
As you can see, Pittsburgh Ice is all about growing the hockey community by providing equipment and teaching the skills necessary to succeed on the ice. But it comes down to the basics, having fun. So guys, take it away. Give me a Pittsburgh Ice on 3. 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. It's all about having fun and playing the game you love. I'm Nathan Bryce here for Colonial Sports Center.
And now the story doesn't end there, obviously. We may have a little bit more coming soon, so you want to stay tuned at colonialsportsnetwork.com and, of course, at RMU_CSN on Twitter. And if you want to stay tuned with all things Pittsburgh Ice, go to pittsburghice.org.
Well, when we come back after the break, we're going to be having a cup of Joe Walton Sports, that is, right here on Colonial Sports Center.
My
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Is going to pass it off to that's 21. That's Adamo and.
Yeah. Hey. Be good. Keep your head up. Let's get this.
So take a look at this goal here. Nick Berkusik sneaks it over the shoulder of Logan Drackett to win it in overtime, and the Colonials snap the losing streak, and they'll head on to Holy Cross with a victory.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center, and we're going to jump right into that Cup of Joe with some men's lacrosse who took on Colgate this past week, to where the Colonials were looking to jumpstart their season after the loss to #1 Duke. They had to be feeling good, and they would get the victory against the Raiders. The Colonials would score 17 goals, 5 of those goals coming from Ryan Smith, 3 from Corson Keeley, 2 goals and 3 assists for Jimmy Perkins, and Colgate would jump out to a 7-4 lead in the second quarter, but the Colonials would score 5 straight to end the second quarter, going up 9-7, and would also open the third with 3 straight goals to make it 12-7. Again, they'd open the fourth with 2 goals and add 2 more later on, and they would have that 17-12 lead, to which they hold on to till the end of the game. RMU had 34 shots on goal. Ben Savick with 14 saves. And an underappreciated stat here, but 42 ground balls for the Colonials helped them seal that victory.
Now, women's lacrosse was also in action as the Fresno State Bulldogs left Bulldog country in California and came all the way over, that'll be after this one, but Liberty Flames, the Colonials, look to extinguish them in this matchup. And, of course, this game was big as this is a team that the Colonials have had trouble with in the past, but they were able to, play a lot better in this game against Liberty Women's Lacrosse. They were able to sneak out with a quick victory. Mackenzie Gandy picked up a couple of goals and had 3 points. She drew a little bit closer to the record in that game, the record of 179, which she's been sitting on since last season. And, of course, the first collegiate goal for Olivia Rupert in that game, and Julia Codervas also picked up a goal in that one as the Colonials took out the Flames in that one and won by a score of 9-8. Let's take a look here. It's going to be Fresno State and RMU. Jack, why don't you take it away?
Oh, yeah, I will, Tyler. And we're going to start out with the Colonials being down, then jumping back up. That's going to be Mackenzie Gandy. She had 6 goals on the day. Her and Melanie would connect on multiple games. Gandy also broke a goal record in this game. We're going to have more on that afterwards. The Colonials would score 8 unanswered goals after that first Mackenzie Gandy goal, but then the Bulldogs started to fight back. Megan Wilatis would start a 4-goal run as the Bulldogs began to make this game interesting. The Colonials and Bulldogs would end up trading goals 9 straight until it was Isabella Robarg who would score to make it 14-8. Coming up, actually, we have some more of these trading back and forth goals. A penalty shot for the Colonials. But they would take this one 18-13 to continue their success. And we mentioned Mackenzie Gandy had broken a goal record. I mean, we've talked about how successful the Gandy twins have been for the Colonials. And you could see it on full display in the Fresno State game. A lot of those goals coming from Melanie to Mackenzie. Just a great showing for the Twins.
That's right. Let's send it over to Jero Von Dane, who has the call.
Mackenzie Gandy moves and shoots and scores out of the free position. And Mackenzie Gandy is now the all-time leading scorer at Robert Morris University with 180 points. Mackenzie Gandy, your new all-time leading scorer here at RMU.
And as you can see there, Mackenzie Gandy, who had been sitting on that for more than almost a calendar year, finally broke the all-time points record of 179 set by Ashley Levering way back in 2009. So that's just a testament to how good she has been. She was cruising last year, heading on to breaking that record again, sitting just 4 points away coming into this year, and she got that extra year of eligibility and came in and broke the record. Just a huge accomplishment for such a great lacrosse player.
Yeah, no, and it's again with the success of this program. It's always been run through the Gandy twins. But we're going to toss it over for a preview of the football season with Mr. Nick Hederick.
Thank you very much, Jack, and thank you for calling me Mr. I think I've deserved that title. The AAF might have folded, the XFL might have been, ended due to the coronavirus, but now we have FCS football in the spring, and that means the Robert Morris Colonials are gearing up for a new football season after over 365 days off. They begin this Saturday at noon against James Madison, but let's take a look at their entire schedule right now. So as I just mentioned, James Madison this Saturday, February 27th. James Madison coming off a win against Moorhead State, 53-0. To put that into perspective, that's my record against Jack O'Brien in chess. 98 yards allowed on the defensive end for James Madison, and 369 of those came on the ground. RMU, one of the worst rush defense teams in the NEC in the last 2 years. To quote a very famous TikTok sound, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no." I didn't practice that, you can probably tell, because that sounded awful, and I'm sorry to all the folks at home. But going forward, their Big South schedule is not that easy either. 3 of the 4 teams finished in the top 3 last season in the Big South, including Monmouth, their first opponent in their new home, who finished 6-0 last year. Charleston Southern, their second opponent, 4-2, and Gardner-Webb finishes 1-5, with Kennesaw State finishing 5-1. So Gardner-Webb might be the most winnable game on their schedule, but who am I to count out Bernard Clark? He's got a lot of pieces coming back in terms of Elijah Jackson, Anelo Buzako, Jacob White, and then some key transfers, including Devon Robinson coming over from Rutgers. That's right, Big Ten land. That's right. And then we see their first game at home is against Monmouth. That comes up on March 13th. Thankfully, not Friday the 13th. I was born on a Friday the 13th. Some people say that explains a lot. But we'll explain our hot takes up next later in the show. But coming up after the break, we're going to bump set, spike it over to volleyball. Stay tuned to Colonial Sports Center.
Oh, sweetie. Okay, you know what? Let's take off his sweatshirt. Get rid of pictures of him. You don't have to look at him. Goodbye, Dave.
Mom, you don't understand. He's tagged in like 400 of my posts.
I can cut out tags.
No, that's not how it works.
What is a tag?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to share their first with you.
So recently, Gallo has been on quite a run of good shows lately.
That was a big opponent to beat there, but now they move on to the Three Rivers Classic, where they've had some pretty good history in it. We're going to take a look at some of these games. They've won it a couple times. We're going to move on into that.
But it's led to the group starting to question his morals. And that's when I said, you can't wear a sweater vest. Ian Kist wore a sweater vest. Hang on. It's go time. You seeing this? You seeing these?
Can't believe
You seeing this literature? Hey, Gallo!
Yo, what's up?
What about these PEDs?
Huh? No.
Get on the ground! It's a shame. Always happens to the best. That's it.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center, and a team that hasn't been mentioned too much in these last couple of weeks is softball, and they actually started their schedule today. They had a doubleheader against North Carolina Central. Let's take a look and see how they fared in that first game. The Colonials took on the Eagles, and they were able to win in this one on the strength of home runs, first career home runs for both of these players. Catalina Saxon and Charlotte Grover went 2 for 2 with a home run, a walk, and an RBI, and Dana Vatakis, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed in the entire game, and she only struck out 1. But what a performance from a player that's going to be relied upon heavily in this pitching rotation.
After a 4-0 shutout victory, the Colonials were looking to continue their winning ways over the Eagles and ground them for a second game in a row in the doubleheader. Would they be able to do such a feat, even though Eagles do fly so high? And they would. They would take the second game 10-3. Ariana Garraway with her first career home run and 3 RBIs. Elena York also 1 for 3 with an RBI. For the Eagles, Madison Mifsud was 1 for 3 with a base on balls and 2 RBIs. And Joria Dumas was 1 for 3 with a home run and an RBI as well. Colonials take 2 from Central North Carolina.
And now we're going to take it back to the hardwood. We're going to take a look and see at the volleyball team who is in action against the people whose profession it is to raid. Let's take a look and see how they fared against Wright State in this 2-game set. As you see in the first game here, it's going to be a spike from Maria Alfano, who's going to get a little bit closer in the score there, make it 8-6. Then we're going to move to the second set. It's going to be Allison Londot, who's going to go up and block it there and knock it down. Nice play there from Londot. This is a team that's struggled a lot in these recent weeks. As you can see here, an attack error for the Raiders. And they're going to move into the third set with the Colonials tied 1-1. They're going to get a nice little spike there once again by Alfano. They're going to trade a couple of kills here. And unfortunately, they were not able to, draw close in that set, and they lost it. But now in the third set, which proved to be the decisive set, a block by Alfano. And then again, the Colonials were faltered in this one as they could not get it back across and fell to the Raiders 3-1.
The Colonials are looking to get some revenge on the Wright State Raiders when they took them on in another match after the first one, dropping the first one 3-0, looking for a bit more fight out of the Colonial spirit. Maybe even win a couple of sets in this one. Let's go to the highlights to find out. In this first clip, it's going to be a kill by Allison Londot to get the offense going. Colonials get the early lead, but they're going to try and continue that. A nice finesse move by Maria Alfano, and the Colonials are looking good, but it's going to be Wright State wrapping this one up with a kill from Lainey Stevenson to take the first set. On to the second. It's going to be Skylar Clements with a block, and then the Colonials is the closest game they had against the Wright State Raiders, but they would fall in that one as well with a block by Celia Powers. To the third set, Colonials looking to keep this game alive, and another block by Wright State to kind of take that lead. That was the largest lead the Colonials had of the day, but the Raiders would take this one 3-0 as well.
And now we're going to take a look at the women's soccer team, who was also in action recently against the UIC Flames, another Flames team that they played this year. Let's see if they could snuff them out in this action. And unfortunately, they were not able to win this one. They fell 3-1, a valiant effort for the team, but unfortunately, they were just too hot to handle because they were the Flames. Savannah Jackson picked up 2 goals, and the lone goal for the Colonials came from Gabriela Lecuona as they fell 3-1 to UIC.
Men's soccer also had a game of their own against Green Bay in the frozen tundra that is Wisconsin. Could the Colonials could pull out a victory in the cold? Well, no one won this one. It was a 0-0 tie that took 2 overtimes to come to that conclusion. RMU had 12 fouls, 9 attempted shots, and 3 on goal, while Green Bay had 17 fouls, 17 attempted shots, and only 1 more shot on goal with 4. Mike Zolnerchek had 2 saves for the Colonials. Jamison Yoder had 3 saves for Green Bay. And there were 6 yellow cards dealt out in this split 3-3 for the Colonials and Green Bay in a thrilling 0-0 tie.
Well, obviously, like you said, it's a frozen tundra and cold up in Green Bay, but it's not cold in here. It's getting hot. We're going to take a look at hot takes after the break.
Teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back to Hot Takes. I'm joined by Luke Yost and Nick Hederick. As always, two honest men, I thought, until Nick Hederick decided to tell a lie about some record against some game that might have happened. But I'm going to go first. I'm going to kick things off. My hot take is that men's hockey is going to make the NCAA tournament. What do you guys think about that?
What, they lost?
Could you give yours? You can give yours.
Well, mine was that
I was kind of hoping you'd pick up the slack and kind of carry your weight here, but it's fine.
Pick up the slack in your chess
He beat you in
game.
chess 53 times.
RMU covers the spread this weekend against James Madison.
38.5 points. I have RMU men's lacrosse knocking off number 8 Notre Dame.
All right. Timeout.
Don't give me that
Actually,
look,
no, here,
Jack.
wait. No. I'm not even at you, okay? Give me the spread for this game.
38.5 points for the RMU James Madison game this week.
Okay, you know what? Not as crazy as it sounds off the bat. Even though, if I was a betting man, in which I may or may not be.
Are you 21?
I don't think, of course I am. I don't know if I'd take that, Nick. It's kind of risky.
Well, I think what you're forgetting is that I am a very distinguished man and that I
Put
don't
those
come
away. You don't
here
need those.
and spread falsehoods. This is a team that returns an offensive line, a very talented offensive line.
I didn't even see the glasses.
I mentioned all of the defensive pieces they returned, and they get some key transfers. You can't tell a man in glasses that he's wrong.
Let me talk to the
I am
transfers here who haven't practiced with this team or played with this team.
Can't hit them.
No. I was telling what did you say?
I'm telling you, you bring in transfers doesn't mean anything this year, right? They haven't played a game against another Jersey in a year and a half. They're telling me they're going to beat
the spread.
The spread of 38.5 points.
They can beat the spread.
Look, good teams win, great teams cover.
That's a fair statement.
That's exactly right.
This is not a great team.
It is.
Could be. We don't know yet.
This isn't even a decent
game.
This isn't a decent team.
All right.
Wow.
Throwing a whole lot of shade over there, Luke Yost. But I want to talk about your take for a hot minute on hot takes because everything is just so hot.
Spicy.
So they're going to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, they are. They're gonna beat Notre Dame.
Duke handled them pretty well. I'd like to see the how we're comparing.
Oh, the only reason why Duke won here is they had a 4-0 second quarter as far as goals are concerned.
Well, it's a comeback team. It's not the first time Duke's come back. But
Exactly.
we're acting like Notre Dame is not Colgate.
Notre Dame hasn't played a game yet this year.
Colgate.
They're still tuning up. Notre Dame also lost a bunch of scores last year.
I think you'll see where I'm coming from on this. I think Notre Dame wins solely because in this sport they're not afraid to pick a conference, which means they must have some confidence in this team actually getting the job done.
That is true, but they won't be in a video game if they make one.
Absolutely not.
So, I'm going to bring it back to me because we haven't talked about me yet.
I'll be working my way back to you, babe.
The thing is, oh my
beautiful.
Lord.
That was awesome.
I'm really warming up the vocals.
The thing is, this team's hot. All right, they had a rough week against RIT. Whatever, they'll get over it. March magic doesn't only happen on the hardwood, gentlemen, and it can totally happen on the ice.
And it hasn't happened to Derek Scully's team in a long time, Jack. What's different this year?
What do you mean? What's different this year? Have you seen the improvement from last year? The potential production curve.
Potential's a lot. Potential's a lot.
That's right. The PPC for this team is just on an increase that goes where, you guessed it, to the moon and the NCAA tournament.
Just like Doge
Also, this team hasn't beat a team handily that I've seen this year. Hasn't dominated a team like women's hockey does. This team cannot handle pressure.
You're acting
What
like
about
acting
what
like
happened to
easy
great
wins
teams
are
cover?
Gifted in Atlantic hockey like Christmas presents. It's never an easy time. But you know what? Getting to the NCAA isn't an easy thing. But this team has proven they've been able to overcome adversity through this season.
They're not going to do it in the postseason, Jack. I hope you realize that.
I hope you
understand that it's not going to happen in the postseason.
I hope you realize that, one, you're having a hard time accepting the truth here. And
You
two,
can't handle the truth.
This team can 100%.
I can't handle you with the glasses, Nick.
Well, I can't handle you coming in over here without any deodorant on, but I've kept my mouth shut, haven't I?
Low blow.
That was a very low blow,
I'm just
Nicholas.
Viewers at home can't smell them, but we sure can. All right. That's it for Hot Takes. We're going to send it over to Tyler Gallo for the upcoming schedule.
That's right. There's definitely a lot of games coming up. A big, heavy slate this week as teams start to iron out their schedules. As you take a look here at all the games coming up, a lot of teams are in action here this week, as you can see over Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course Friday and Saturday. There's going to be a lot of games. I mean, men's and women's basketball are out, but we're going to see lacrosse, we're going to see soccer, we're going to see all these teams. And once again, that's going to be all for the action this week. But for Tyler Gallo, Jack O'Brien, and everyone down here, well, thank you once again for viewing, and we'll see you next week.